This is a commentary on the changing educational, let's call it atmosphere or system of values in Korea. The Confucian worship of education has diminished considerably. And with it, the respect for teachers, too, has, of course, diminished, too. The number of kids who are indifferent, apathetic, for whatever reasons, obvious. This one article presents some reasons. Outdated curricula or curriculums. The curricula to teach Doduk in your schools seems to me so anachronistic, it's absurd. And every student who has ever come to my class, to me, and that's a couple of hundred, and most of them good students, everyone agrees that Doduk is so irrelevant, so boring, so mindless. So clinging to that just strikes me as symptomatic of that conservative, it's changing admittedly, but that conservative grip on education that has been true of the past. It's changing, but Doduk is an absurdity. Sorry, it's absurd. Outdated teaching methods. My joke, I made this up, though someone probably did it before. Korean classroom. Teacher, I have a question. Shut up and memorize. That some people think that characterizes the Korean education system pretty well. Shut up and memorize. Well, that has to change. And if that can't change, then yes, many students will simply tune out, will sleep, or just pour themselves into PC bongs and computer games. Lazy, spoiled students, well, part of this is the change of values. The collapse of the Confucian Yugyo values and the influx, even the inundation of Western values. But your society is in a state of rapid transition, unbelievably rapid transition. And all one can do is try to respond with sensitivity and intelligence. Irresponsible parents, broken homes. Well, your high divorce rate, of course, is going to produce disastrous results. Does that mean divorce should not be allowed? No. It just is a perfect example of this unbelievably rapid transition, evolution of Korean society now. The inundation of Korean society with Western values. But broken homes, divorce rates produce disastrous results. Can it be changed? No, I don't think it can. What we have to do is creatively try to find good in it or look at it with as much clairvoyance as possible. The rapidly changing education systems. You're famous for changing your systems many times within a few years. This last article raises the question of tutors. I'm a tutor, I know. The wealthy can afford me, the people who are not wealthy can't. Presumably the ones who can afford me and who can come, others like me, who can come here have an advantage. The person who has a kind of middle income is faced with a dilemma. Do I spend money on tutors whom I can't afford and neglect my aging parents, neglect the family needs, or do I sacrifice everything for the education of my children? That's a rough one. But I don't think the solution is to legislate to forbid tutors. That's not fair. People who can afford to get better educations, sorry, that's the way it is. Others will simply have to find ways to get an education. I don't think that's changeable by enforcing egalitarian kind of mediocrity. That's not a fair solution. By punishing elitism is not fair. But have to find ways to give people, young people who don't have any economic advantages, ways, possible avenues towards success.
Korean education in transition. 1. What has diminished dramatically in the past years in Korea? 2. List some reasons for the diminished interest in education. 3. What dilemma do Korean middle-class parents face? 4. Why is the government considering to level the educational playing field? 5. What would be a better solution to the dilemma middle-class families face? 6. Do you think it's important for people to study abroad? Why or why not?